We'll get started in just a second, everybody. This is probably going to be an all-time rant, and we'll see where this goes, man. It is obviously you can see on my screen Tatum getting fouled on this play, but uh, it is it is tough. It is tough to look at. It is tough to envision this Boston Celtics team the way it is. But at the end of the day, there's a lot to be said about this team. So we'll get started in just a second. Just wait for a couple more people to tune in. Let them hear it. Yeah, we will in a second. We will in a second. Let me just fix some lighting really quick. Okay. Let's see here. I think we're good to go. All right. So yeah, that happened. That happened, right? No, this is super frustrating. Not because, obviously this is kind of the reason why lately in the last couple years I've gone away from really like settling myself with the basketball team. I don't want to make this sound like a relationship, but really like why I don't like doing it is just because like I'm not really invested in the team. I'm not a coach. I'm not a trainer. I'm not even like a ball boy or a towel boy for the Celtics. Um, but we do have to discuss this. They are my team, whether I like it or not. Whether you have to take the good with the bad. So here it goes. And it's a Friday night. We're gonna chill. Not sure if they can see my Seahawks mug, but I'll just shout out to the Hawks. So the game just got done. We obviously are seeing it 111-105 for the Miami Heat. This to me was a must-win game for the Boston Celtics. Clearly, after losing game one the way that we did, this was definitely a team and an opportunity to respond back in a way that could help us win these basketball games. Again, we know that when it comes to, let me just spit out my gum. When it comes to the Boston Celtics, the one thing that you can really harp on and really notice when we play is inconsistencies. And I don't want to take anything away from the Miami Heat. The Miami Heat have actually been a great story for the NBA, if you think about it. They beat the number 1 seed Milwaukee Bucks. They beat the number 4 seed, I believe, New York Knicks. Right? No, they were the 5 seed. 5 seed New York Knicks, and now they are closely on their way to beating the number 2 seed Boston Celtics. No excuses though for these teams. Like they have to beat the Miami Heat team. And one thing before I go on my rant, I have to shout out Eric Spoelstra. This guy has done an amazing job with this team. Like you think about guys like Gabe Vincent, you think about Struz, like guys that normally are not playing in this game. Guys like Duncan Robinson actually being a factor for once in a playoff series. Yeah, here's what I will say about the Boston Celtics. I think that the summer stuff, like I said, in all seriousness, before I go on my rant, in all seriousness, the Boston Celtics need to do a deep dive into coaching staff, into players, into what they need. Because to me, just like everybody else out there in the world, like this Boston Celtics team to me has no weakness. Maybe you could say size and rebounding, but you thought you had that with Robert Williams. But, Robert Williams playing 23 minutes has been I would say a piss poor, I would say minutes restriction. I don't know if he's hurt or what's going on with him, but that's something to look after. Um, but let's get, like I said, Miami Heat first before we go into our rant. Kevin Love didn't really do too much tonight. Jimmy Butler played amazing. He played lights out. He didn't have like the 30-point game like Jamal Murray did, but his impacted 27 points, 6 assists, and 8 rebounds with 3 steals was what the doctor ordered for this Miami Heat team. There were times when, especially in that playoff series where they lost to the Hawks, we were thinking, okay, this team is probably going to, make a nice little run against the Milwaukee Bucks, maybe go 7 games. But at the end of the day, the Milwaukee Bucks are going to win this series. That ended up not being the case. And we are where we are right now with them potentially being 2 games away from the NBA Finals. Once again, we'll see if it's going to be the Lakers or the Nuggets in that sense. But like I said, I want to just give my shout out and really, shout out to my guy Hugh Wizzy, soccer guy, Arsenal guy. I have to give a shout out to him because he coined the term frauds, and that to me is what the Boston Celtics are acting right now. I feel like there's a lot of people acting like frauds, and we will expose someone on our fraud watch list, at least on my fraud watch list. And my friends will know like what I'm talking about with the text rant that I went on with my guys Brad and Pete. Unfortunately, they can't be here tonight, but they will be tuning in and they will be hearing it. But let me just give a shout out to the Miami Heat. Played really well. They did a lot of great things. They played a really good zone. Like we scored. Like looking back on it and looking at the synergy stats that I have access to, like we actually scored a lot off those zone plays. It just seemed like we didn't, just because there were some really bad turnovers. And I need to know what like they constitute zone versus man. I do feel like maybe the synergy has a better understanding, and I just need to look back at the film and watch a little bit more, because I did feel like we had that turnover with Marcus Smart in a zone. But let me go on my rant. So for the Boston Celtics, this is another game in which we lose at home. And to be honest with you guys, it is super frustrating to continuously watch the Celtics absolutely be frauds in North America. Like, I think they are one of the biggest frauds right now, just because of the fact that you look at this team and really, we look down here. I see no glaring weaknesses besides maybe having Danilo Gallinari be like a replacement for Al Horford when he's out. But this is no excuse from our superstar players. Just like we had to call out LeBron James and Anthony Davis last night, we have to call out Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. 10 for 20, 3 from 10 for three-point land. Yes, he had 13 rebounds, he had 8 assists, but 5 turnovers is not going to do it. Jaylen Brown, 7 for 23, 1 for 7. This, to me, is an absolute joke. I am super frustrated with the way that the Celtics have been so lackadaisical with the way that they've been playing. Any coach, and this to me, it's the same thing that I said last night with Darvin Ham, Joe Mazzulla. These guys are cut from the same cloth because these guys are game watching the whole series. I'm sorry to say it. Like, they are game watching to the nth degree, because at the end of the day, both of these coaches did not make the adjustments before the ran came. And when I think about it, like, Grant Williams poked the bear in Jimmy Butler, and Jimmy Butler said, all right, you know what? I'm going to show you what I'm really made of, and scored, I believe, on 3 or 4 straight possessions on Grant Hill. Like, Joe Mazzulla had to realize as soon as you saw them get into it, that's an immediate sub, and let's get someone else to guard Jimmy Butler. Yes, you could say it could go one way or the other, but Grant Williams, as good as a role player I believe he is not the type of guy that defensively, can guard a guy like Jimmy Butler. I think he can guard guys that are a little bit bigger or kind of like that stretch 4. He's not a guy that's going to be able to guard your 3 or your 2. And the fact that Joe Mazzulla had him on Jimmy Butler, it just can't happen. I am super frustrated with seeing Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown turning over the ball, looking like they did against the Golden State Warriors just a year prior. I thought that these two guys had learned their lesson from the finals last year against the Golden State Warriors. They tried to drive, they turned over the ball, they had too many turnovers, and it's time in and time again that these guys they just need their coaches to call them out on their crap. Like, this is crap basketball right now that the Celtics are playing. This isn't great basketball right now. This is absolutely atrocious from both guys. They know that it's not good basketball, and they need to do a better job of not being rushed. I felt like there was times like I talked about with all my basketball teams, whether it's high school or whether it's 5th grade, 4th grade, whatever grade it is, it doesn't matter. I really do compare basketball to music, and I know I'm going to get a lot of sighs and eye rolls because I know that my guys hate the term when we call players artists, but it really is an art. You think about the way that the ball moves around and the way that, like, you see teams like the San Antonio Spurs or even the Golden State Warriors, whether you hate them or love them, that ball moves around. It's so beautiful to watch. Even though you hate it, it's beautiful to watch because of the way that everybody touches the ball, everybody gets a chance, and it doesn't look so jagged and really, I think, so ugly. These guys are, I don't know what instrument they're playing with, but they're playing with a broken guitar and a shoestring, and that's it. Hell, I even think a shoestring and a broken guitar can sound better than the way that our team played today. And it's just frustrating because look, this is what I want to talk about with Tatum. I love Tatum. I think he's a great player, but he needs to get a better trainer than this guy. I saw this from Cuffs the Legend, so shout out to Cuffs for this. He's the one that put me on to this absolute fraud, Drew Hanlon. Drew Hanlon trying to teach Jason Tatum these moves. Like, I need to know how much I need to get paid to be an NBA rebounder. How much am I going to get paid? All these guys should be asking for their money back. Watching this guy, and I don't care if I get copyright strike on this. I don't care. You tell me how that guy is going to get Jason Tatum ready to play a freaking game of basketball. You tell me how this guy, Drew Hanlon, is remotely going to help this guy, Jason Tatum, get to where he needs to go. I'm even questioning why Kevin Durant or any of these players are working out with him. Clearly, they need to be working with Phil Handy. I will shout him out. I think that he's one of the, like, look at what he's doing with Rui Hachimura right now. Rui Hachimura has the simplest game in the world. The three's not there, he's going right to his mid-range. I know Carmelo Anthony's one of his favorite players. He models his game after Carmelo Anthony. Jason Tatum can do the exact same thing with Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant had the footwork. He had the pivots. Like, to me, Jason Tatum needs to work with Hakeem Olajuwon if he wants the pivots. If he wants to play like Kobe Bean Bryant. The late, great Kobe Bean Bryant. Respect to Kobe. He needs to go work with that guy. Go work with whoever Kobe Bryant worked. If I've even heard that Drew Hanlon worked with Kobe Bryant, I will be sick to my stomach. I'm sorry. I know the basketball community is going to be in a ruckus. They probably even watched this video just because of how small the channel is. I don't even care. I have to rant about it because it is frustrating to watch some very cringy, really, I would say, training of basketball. Like, again, I'm not saying you got to be an NBA player to be that, but you tell me how being a practice dummy at 5'5", no, nothing wrong with 5'5", right? But you tell me how a guy that is supposed to be guarding a 6'10", 6'8", 6'11", 7-foot player is supposed to represent or even become close to getting you to be ready for an NBA game. I'm sorry. This type of training, I personally see a benefit of at times, but to me, like, that's not what Jason Tatum needs. You tell me how this is going to get him ready to pass to Grant Williams in the corner. Tell me. I need to know how this is going to get him to not turn over the ball to Grant Williams in the corner. I know Grant Williams was trying to catch him with one hand in the corner. I get that. But at the same time, this stuff cannot happen. Like, I love Jason Tatum. I think he's a great player. But at the same time, like, where, to me, like, what are you doing with that move? Like, yes, you're going to get that against the Charlotte Hornets. You're going to get against that against the Houston Rockets, the San Antonio Spurs, the teams that are absolutely crap, the teams that are just trying to vie for the ping pong lottery in hopes that they get Victor Wembanyama. The Spurs got him. Every other team is crying their eyes out right now because they did not get this generational talented player. He could do that against those guys. But he's not doing that to an Eric Spoelstra team. He definitely did not do that against the Doc Rivers team. And again, when he kept his game simple, when he had 51 points that night, his game was so smooth, so simple. To me, that is the Jason Tatum that I want to see from here on out. I do not want to see him try to dribble through a double team. This isn't the 5th grade anymore. I don't know what Drew Hanlon's teaching him. He needs to work on this exact move, especially because guys like the Philadelphia 76ers did it, and even the Miami Heat did it at times. They blitzed him or doubled him. They went to go trap him. He needs to be able to learn how to retreat dribble, needs to learn how to go through it and pass the ball away and then relocate and score again. Like, that's what makes Steph Curry, to me, one of the best players in the world. Not because he's the most athletic guy, not because he's the best shooter in the world, but because he is a guy that's able to move after relocating. After he passes the ball, he's not like, well, okay, my job is done. No, he's going right to the next spot. He's going right to another split post action. He's going right to a next guard-to-guard post split, kind of like a Princeton style. Like, he's doing other things besides just standing there. And I just feel like Tatum at times and Jaylen Brown can get stuck in this habit of standing still, and it is super infuriating to watch because I know what type of talented player both him and Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, those two respectively, can be. And this isn't to say that these guys aren't great players, and I'm not criticizing them as players in terms of their I'm not criticizing their character. To me, this is just strictly talking basketball. Again, I may not be the most qualified to talk about it. I've never played in the NBA. I've never even played in college. But I know what I see out there, and it is definitely not basketball to me that's getting a guy like Jason Tatum ready to go against a Miami Heat defense. Not ready to go against a Philadelphia 76ers team defense consistently. Consistency, to me, is the number one thing that separates the great players from the really good players. Think about guys like Gilbert Arenas, Tracy McGrady. Like, those guys were good. But what separates guys like LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, and I'll even put Michael Jordan there. I know the Jordan fanboys will love it. But what separates those 3 players specifically, and I know that you're going to say that they're an exception to the rule, but even guys like Jimmy Butler. Sorry, I just went cringy there. But Jimmy Butler, fundamental, plays the game smooth, plays the game the right way, is a two-way player, and is playing the game as simple as you can be. And got 27. Even with his shooting numbers. 12 for 25. That's not as efficient, but I'll be damned to say that, hey, he had a great game. Did a lot of great things. Didn't turn over the ball as much as the other guy. And again, this isn't the rant that I think everybody thought it would be. Sorry, Pete, and sorry, Brad. This, it's probably more dramatic on my text than it really needed to be. But again, like I said, I want to really shout out the Miami Heat because they played a tremendous game. They did a really good job. And as frustrated as I can be with the zone, it wasn't the reason why the Celtics lost. When I think about even more is just I think Ime Udoka was really the answer, and really, to me, the fundamental piece to the Boston Celtics more than anything. I know the chat is saying it right now. Joe Mazzulla, great coach, young, talented guy. I think you give him a couple more years, he can get there. And I'm glad he's getting the opportunity, but I think it just kind of tells you what you need to know about Joe Mazzulla as a coach. Like, he's a great coach. He's progressive. I think he does a lot of good things. He does a lot of the things the right way. Clearly, for the first half of the season, he was doing a good job with our Celtics team. But in crunch time minutes, the Celtics continue to falter. I mean, it's frustrating to look at the numbers. And I think what it was, remembering it, is that the Heat in the last 5 minutes of a basketball game, when trailing, or when they're up by 10, or I think trailing by 10, or like crunch time minutes, basically, they're 11-2. The Celtics are like maybe 1 or 2 games out of 5. It's just not going to do it. And I know the energy's low right now. I'm probably tired, and it's probably like a mild rant, if you will. But at the end of the day, like, we are missing that coach that takes no nonsense, calls the timeouts at the right moments. And again, I don't know what Ime Udoka did. The NBA media has made it seem like he did something egregious. Like, again, I'm not saying that infidelity is not wrong. I mean, it's one of those things that especially in the workplace. I get it, but at the same time, um, I think the Celtics need to look in the mirror and see, is Joe Mazzulla the answer for the Celtics for the future? Like, this team without a coach can win you 57 games, but it really takes a coach, and you guys are seeing it in Mike Malone. And I'm sorry, Brad, to bring that up, but you're seeing that in a guy like Mike Malone. You're seeing that in a coach like Eric Spoelstra, showing you that coaching experience and coaching ability matters a lot. And whether we like it or not, Joe Mazzulla is still a young coach learning the game, still trying to get his, I would say footing underneath him. I know that there was rumors of him maybe going to Missouri if I'm not mistaken. Or actually, I'm not sure if he went to Missouri or not. I think that might have been the other coach that went there. But, a guy like the guy that went to Utah, Hardy, like that. I mean, those guys, like, again, they did a great job. I would love to see Hardy in the playoffs again. I think it matters more in the playoffs than anything else. But, I think Ime Udoka just needs that seasoned experience, and he's getting it right now. But with the timeline, that the way that the Celtics are, there's no time to be experimenting with coaches that need more time. It's time to get proven coaches that have won a championship before. And to me, whether you want to bring Doc Rivers back, I probably would vote against that. But, guys like Nick Nurse, guys like Frank Vogel, those type of coaches, I think, are what the Celtics need. And I really do think that, if I could make a plea to Jason Tatum, it's just this. Please get a better trainer. I know Drew Hanlon's your boy. I know you've been working with him at such a young age, but I will be damned if he's helping you get better as an NBA player. I understand when you're in high school. I understand when you're in college, but as soon as you get to the pro level, Phil Handy should be the guy that he should be working under. The tutelage and the understanding should be with him. It should be with Phil Handy. And I know and again, I'm not sponsored by him. I don't have a magic promo code to get his app or whatever he uses. Like, that's not me. But he does need to go to a coach that knows his game. He needs to go to a coach that says, here's your weakness and here's what you're doing wrong, and this is why you're doing it wrong, instead of a yes man coach. I feel like Hanlon is too much of a yes man coach. He'll rebound for you. He'll do like, hey, let's just do these moves. Let's work on it. You tell me how, like, is he watching Synergy film? Like, does he have a Synergy account? He probably has access to Jason Tatum's. He probably has access to Joel Embiid's, Kevin Durant's Synergy film. Break down the film. Where are the game shots coming from? That's what I feel like these guys need a lot more skill of. They have all the skills. They have the footwork. To me, like, these, I think Jason Tatum needs to work on his wiggles a little bit. I don't think he's as shifty as I would like him to be. I think he's a little too stiff. Like, if you watch him play, he's a little too stiff at times. Just with the way, like, he's not able to, like, go in and out and really get someone on that bite. I don't know if it's because he's too tall or just because he's always been this long and lanky that it's just hard for his body to adjust. But I know that these are not the shots that Jason Tatum is like, this is what the defense is going to do to you. This is what needs to happen. That's not the case. I'm sorry. I know we have more people in here coming through. Again, I'm just frustrated, man. As a Celtics supporter and someone that really roots for the Celtics like I do, how can you be mad at the other team? How can you be mad at the refs? How can you be mad at anybody but the Celtics themselves? We continuously shoot ourselves in the foot each and every day. And I don't know if YouTube wants me to say that, but we consistently screw the pooch every day. It seems like for this season, we've been doing a lot of that, and it's super frustrating. As a Celtics fan, as a Celtics supporter, grew up in the Boston area just a little bit before I moved away and moved over to the Pacific Northwest. It's sickening to watch the Celtics blow opportunities like they did tonight. 111-105. Like I said, there's not really much to talk about in terms of the Celtics other than the capitulation. The one thing I would love to know, the question to, is why is Robert Williams only playing 23 minutes? I look at the plus minus, like, he's a +7, 5 for 5 from the field. Like, And to me, only getting 3 rebounds is a crime. I need to know why my center or why the center, besides Al Horford, is only getting 3 rebounds. I need to know. Are the knees not good? Because if the knees aren't good, then this is a reoccurring issue for Robert Williams, and this is going to be a situation where the Celtics need to decide in the offseason if we get blown out or if we get out of the playoffs. What is the next move for us? I need to know like what is the next step for the Boston Celtics if we do lose this series. I think I still have faith in them. I still think they can win these games, but they continuously dig themselves in a hole because now you got to win 4 out of the next 5, I believe, or something like that. Like it's a tough, tall task in order if you don't at least win your home games or at least one of them to move on to the next part of it. And uh, you know, we'll probably end the stream in about a couple minutes. I know people are expecting a huge rant, but you know, you got to give your shout out to the Miami Heat. They played a hell of a game. They had a hell of a game plan. And when you poke the bear and where you go for the king, you best not miss. And Grant Williams poked the bear. He tried to go at the king and he freaking missed. And it is egg on our face right now for the Boston Celtics. It is a sad state of affairs, and I hope that we can learn from that lesson. I hope that we can get better. But man, it is doom and gloom, at least in my head right now. I know that it's only 2 games. It's just an NBA game, but it's one of those things where I think they've blown another opportunity, especially by giving up a 36-point fourth quarter, a 40-point third quarter the other night. At some point, you got to hold a defensive stand against the Miami Heat. Like I know they're gonna shoot their threes. They're gonna try to get a lot of great looks off their sets and off Bam Adebayo's screens, but yeah, man, it's one of those things that you can't really be. Like I said, you can't be mad at the Miami Heat for their 3-2 zone. You can't be mad at the Miami Heat for shooting the way that they're doing. You can't be mad at Jimmy Butler for playing a great game like he usually does. The only person you can be mad at right now is ourselves. And I think Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, especially Jaylen Brown in tonight's game, I thought was piss poor. Jason Tatum was poor the other night. I mean, I know he had 30 points. I know Jason Tatum had 34 tonight. But most of those points were coming off of free throws. 11 for 12. Like, I know to me, free throws are kind of like the change. It's just like that extra money that adds up to the points, right? Whether it's a bonus 1-1, whether you're driving to the paint, like those are good stats. But Jaylen Brown with minus 24 tonight definitely did not help us in the plus minus category. But yeah, man, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I know I sound a little defeated. I am, but like I said, let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about the Boston Celtics versus the Miami Heat in another stinker for the Boston Celtics. And the Miami Heat are just 2 games away from the NBA Finals. Everyone, let me know in the comment section down below. Is it doom and gloom, or do you still have faith in the Boston Celtics? Let me know in the comment section down below. Oh, man. It's super frustrating. I will say that. Again, it's just a game. There's a life outside of it, but at the same time, as a fan, you do get heartbroken when your team is in the third quarter dominating, making a huge run, and then all of a sudden, they just give up the points that they do in the fourth quarter. And in the last game, in game 1, they gave it up in the third quarter. It's kind of reminiscent of that situation. I mean, again, I feel like the Miami Heat are death by 1,000 cuts. Meanwhile, the Celtics are let's just try to go a home run swing every time we're striking out. We're looking like fools out here. And it is frustrating to continuously see the Boston Celtics in this predicament, but it's been like that for the last half of the season and in the playoffs. I think if Joe Mazzulla doesn't get it done, I could potentially see him getting fired. I know that maybe the Boston front office won't do it, but I think something has to be done because, again, it's one of those things where if the Celtics let this linger on too much, you'll lose Tatum, you lose Brown, especially with Brown being a free agent this offseason. You need to assure him that there's a future for him. You need to assure Jason Tatum that yeah, we're gonna do some great things out here, but man, it is so frustrating. Anyway, guys, I think I'm gonna call it a night there. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night. Please tune in on Sunday. Actually, me and my boy Pete, we're actually gonna go live. Let me just double check some things on my end. But for the most part, I think we are gonna go live. And I'll let you guys know when that time will be. Let me just make sure that we are. Yeah. Okay, perfect. Yeah. Yeah, we'll let you know in the comment section down below, or we'll let you know. I'll put out a video on Saturday, maybe Sunday morning. Probably Saturday, just so you guys can be aware. We will be live streaming on Sunday, talking about the NBA news and rumors, and also, of course, basketball opinions. As we will, I believe, have Game 3 for the Lakers and Nuggets done with. So tune in then. Anyway, guys, like I said, my name is Bernie. Thank you once again for joining, and we'll catch everybody on the next episode.